Hi, Miss Upper. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Thanks for coming back. Did you find the office okay? Were the directions helpful?
They were.
Yeah, easy to find?
It was.
Great. How can I help you?
I guess what I'm here for today is abdominal pain and discomfort that seems to be exacerbated during the time of ovulation. And it's mainly just like lower abdominal pain. And I just feel different. I just don't really feel like myself during that time. And then I also notice I feel more fatigued, and I wonder if it's because of that time or because of my diet, which I used to be a vegan, but I just recently changed, and I'm slowly adding a bit more animal products like eggs and fish into my diet, just because I don't know if I'm doing the right things with nutrition-wise.
Okay. Well, first, let me applaud you for having the awareness that you may need to not be a vegan and maybe you weren't getting enough protein at that time, and for adding eggs and fish, because that's great. And it seems like you're really doing a lot of research, working hard on your health, gathering information, really trying to make your diet as optimal as it can be. So, and you're here seeking that help. So, great. So I hear you say that you're having some symptoms that are exacerbated when you ovulate and or prior to menstruation. Can you just talk a little bit about the symptoms besides fatigue? I heard you say you had fatigue that got worse. Are there any other symptoms that get worse, or is it just the pain?
I guess just the pain and like bloating and maybe like a cramping feeling, but other than that it's not too much, and also not really feeling like myself.
Okay.
But it's
just kind of
different.
Feeling off.
Off, exactly.
Okay, so I hear you saying you're feeling off. All right. Tell me a little bit about exercise and lifestyle.
I exercise pretty often, usually like tennis, running and biking, and some weightlifting too.
Wow. So I hear you. What I hear you saying is that you exercise almost every day. Is that correct?
I do.
And so you're doing at least some sort of cardiovascular exercise every single day. That's just amazing. But what's your passion, though? I mean, really, what's the passion? Is it running or?
Probably tennis.
Tennis. Oh, awesome. So are you? Is that like you really good at tennis? I mean, you're like a champion at the club, or?
No. I played in college, but I'm okay.
You played in college? Oh my gosh! If I had trophies all along the wall or something. How about stress?
I am kind of caring for my grandfather right now, so I guess that poses a little bit of stress in my life. But other than that, like my work and regular life isn't too stressful.
So your regular life isn't too stressful, but your caregiving life is hard. So you're a caregiver, then you're telling me. Oh wow! And so let me ask you a question about stress, because being a caregiver is a very stressful situation. When you have stress, is it a motivator? Is it something that makes you go, or is it something that kind of just makes you withdraw and feel kind of?
I withdraw a bit.
You withdraw a bit? Okay. Now, let me ask you a question also about when you were vegan and vegetarian. Is there a reason? Is there something about, is it about the animals? Is it about health? What was your decision-making process in becoming a vegetarian vegan?
I guess both of that, but I really just don't like the idea of consuming animal products. And I think it took me a while to be able to get to the point of even just eating eggs.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. So do you have a pet?
I do.
Okay. Is it cat, dog, fish?
I grew up with a lot of animals, but I have a dog now.
Oh, so you relate to a lot of animals, and so do you consider what's your dog's name?
Bentley.
Bentley. So it's a human name. Do you consider dogs as being humans?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And do people tell you you're very caring and sweet, warm? Yeah. So have people said you're empathetic?
Yeah, they've used that word.
Yeah, they've actually used that word. Wow. Okay, you are empathetic. All right. Do you have any allergies?
No.
Do you have taken any medications prescribed by a physician? Has a physician ever given you a diagnosis or of a disease or disorder?
No.
Okay. Take any over-the-counter medications or no? Anything like Advil, Aleve? No. How about botanicals, herbals, or homeopathics? Anything?
No, not at the moment.
All right. Why don't you tell me about any surgeries you may or may not have had?
I did have a surgery in 2007. I had my right fallopian tube removed because I had a cyst in my abdomen that twisted around it and cut off the blood supply.
Wow. Was that painful? Is that how you knew?
And that's kind of why I wonder about the abdominal pain that I have now, because it feels similar to that whole process. So I wonder.
Yes. That would be concerning. And that's something I'm hearing you say you're concerned about abdominal pain. Something we really need to look into at a more deep level. Let me just summarize a little bit about what I hear you saying about what we want to do with your nutritional goals. So I understand that your top concerns are your abdominal pain and how that's exacerbated during ovulation and premenstruation, about fatigue that is also exacerbated with hormonal changes, and also that you're concerned about getting the right kind of nutrition because of your lifestyle choice of being a vegetarian, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you also told me that you have added in more salmon, more fish rather, and eggs, not necessarily salmon. Okay. So this is what I did with our information that I've been collecting. Okay, so we collected your food diary. Okay, we collected this interview that we're doing now, and the testing that we did last time we met together, plus the lab test that you provided me that was from your physician. Now, unfortunately, that laboratory test was a blood test, and although all the scores on it were normal, it wasn't really very specific to the problems that you're having now. Because do you remember the health appraisal graph, the quiz that I gave you? Well, I made a little graph, and that graph showed me that we had some priority issues in the gastrointestinal area, most likely the small intestine and the pancreas, so some sugar metabolism, absorption issue maybe, and also in the hormonal area. So as you know, you have issues with hormonal changes because everything gets exacerbated during ovulation and premenstruation. So with all that information, and you remember the tests we did last time, we did your BMI, your weight, your hydration, we did the waist to hip ratio, all those were amazing. Your blood pressure was an athletic blood pressure, your beats per minute of your heart, perfectly wonderful. One thing we didn't do was temperature, and so I do have that today, and we do have our handy dandy little covers that make the thermometer work. So I'm just going to grab that temperature real quick from you, and it's just an ear thermometer, so we don't have anything major to do here. I'm just going to go ahead and press this button, and voila, it's going to give me a temperature, and you're 98.7, absolutely wonderfully normal. Okay, let me just jot that down. But with all that information that we had, probably the thing that was most telling about you was the food journal. And so we've developed some goals about that food journal for an initial plan. Now, I don't ever want to guess with what's happening inside your body nutritionally, so I really need to request some additional labs. So I'm going to send you home with a paper that's going to have all these tests on it that you can take back to your physician, because A, I want you to go back to your general practitioner, and B, I want you to see your gynecologist and have possibly an ultrasound to let's get a visual on what's happening with the ovaries now, especially the one that's missing the fallopian tube and the side that you're having pain on.
Okay.
I want you to do, with your doctor, I'm going to ask him to check your thyroid because that relates back to fatigue, not only just the TSH but also a free T3 and T4, which are the hormone levels in your body. I want to see that. I want to look at your iron because you are a vegetarian and iron mostly comes from animal products. So we're going to look at your iron, ferritin, which are the stores of iron. We're going to look at vitamin D levels, which are extremely important, and B12. B12 also comes from animal product. So not only B12, but to see if it's deficient truly, we want to look at homocysteine levels, which not only tells us about deficiency of B12, but also if you have inflammation in your body. And finally, a methylmalonic acid, which confirms a B12 deficiency. That marker rises when B12 is low. So on top of that, I'm going to have you do a hormone saliva test so that I can see your levels of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, and cortisol. And I also want to do a bacterial profile in the gastrointestinal area so that we can see what pattern of bacteria you have in your gut. And that's going to tell us, that's going to rule out a gut issue versus a gynecological issue. Okay? So on top of that, we have some initial goals, right? So our initial goals are definitely we need to increase your calories. When I took a look at your food journal, your caloric intake was between 250 and 300 calories per meal or snack. Now, about totaling 1,000 calories a day or less at times. You are working out every single day. What do you think that means? You're burning some calories, right? So we need to increase your calories.
Okay.
So, and because we need to increase calories, we are going to spread it out between carbohydrate, protein, and fat. But I want to increase your protein more so in these first few weeks.
Okay.
So I'm going to increase your caloric intake per day to 1,600 to 2,000, depending on the amount of working out you're doing. And I want to break it down into carbohydrates being 30%, protein being 50%, and fats being 20%. Now you're going to get a packet with a cycle plan diet in there. It's going to show you all the foods every single day. It's going to have the percentages broken down for you, so you're not going to need to worry about, whoa, what's 30% of this?
Okay.
I'm going to be able to do that for you. After a few weeks of increased protein, I'm going to change it to 50% carbohydrate, 30% protein, 20% fat. So how do you want to do that? What kind of protein? So I want you to eat eggs and fish. So I want you to eat salmon, great, dense, nutrient fish, right?
Okay.
Plus it has good fats in it. And eggs. I want you to increase those at every meal. Every day I want you to have a little bit of egg and possibly, some sort of fish. Now, on top of that, I want you to increase your proteins per gram. So per day, I want you to have at least 78 grams of protein per day.
Okay.
And it's hard to do that sometimes. So I'm going to give you a whey protein powder, and you're going to put that in almond milk with fruit and veggies. You're going to mix it up in your Vitamix that I know you have, or your NutriBullet or your Ninja. And every day you're going to have that 25 grams as a scoop of that powder. You can have that as a snack one time a day. You can have it 2 times a day.
Okay.
I don't want you to have it more than 2 times a day, though. I want you to have some real substantial food, veggies, brown rice, something really nutritious every meal, which I know you're going to do. But you are lacking both protein and some carbohydrates in your food journal.
Okay.
So that's how we're going to meet. Do I know, am I getting enough calories? Right now you're not getting. That could be your fatigue problem all 100%. But I'm leaning toward that you're going to need some supplementation. However, again, I'm not going to guess. I want to make sure I get those laboratory tests. And if you can't get them through your physician, come back to me and we'll find another way for you to get them without any problem. Okay? But again, don't want to guess. I want to make sure what I'm giving you before I throw some supplements at you, which I'm not going to do today. Also, we have some lifestyle changes. You do a lot of hard exercise. Tennis, running, biking. God only knows. Kickboxing, right? Chasing your dog around. I don't know. But what I want you to do is some soft exercise. So I want you to do some Tai Chi and some yoga, maybe some Qigong, which I know you're familiar with because you're into Chinese medicine. And I want you to do some meditation. I want you to calm yourself down. I want you to do some deep breathing, which are also included in your packet.
Okay.
If you have any questions, we have an introductory class that we do for our new patients. You can come in, you can sit, and we can demonstrate all of these for you in the class.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to ask you one last question. I know that you eat some meat you eat some fish and eggs now, but do you think that there's any potential? Do you ever eat meat, beef, turkey, chicken, anything?
Not really. It's on a rare occasion if I actually do. I suppose I can try, but it might be a little hard.
Well, I don't want to force you. I just want to ask you how you feel. It's your barometer. So on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being the most likely that you would eat animal product and 0 being never until hell freezes over, where would you be on that scale in terms of eating?
Maybe like a 3 or 4.
So you're not a 0.
No.
So that's good. So let's. I want you to start opening your mind to those kinds of ideas that maybe you could tolerate a little bit of ground chicken or ground meat in a stew where you didn't really know it was an animal product. That you might think about using that almost as medicine for yourself. Because as much as we like supplements in nutrition and we like protein powders, really good nutrition comes from real whole foods. And I'd rather you get it from an actual food than from a supplement.
Okay.
Your iron, especially if we find that you're low in iron. All right, so is there anything that you want to ask me about? Are you clear about everything that we spoke about? We talked about your main problem, your main concerns, which are pain on ovulation, abdominal pain that exacerbates during ovulation and premenstruation. We talked about fatigue that also gets worse during those times, and we talked about you wanting to know about the right nutrition. Now, those laboratory tests are going to show us, are you deficient in any actual nutrients? We're going to know about the right nutrition. We're also going to see if there's any fatigue related to nutrient depletion, right, or not having enough. And everything else we talked about in increasing your calories is going to lend itself towards more increased energy and feeling better. Now, your abdominal pain, again, I'm going to reinforce. I want you to go back to your general practitioner. I want you to go back to your gynecologist and have that reassessed. It's very important to keep track on that because you could also have scar tissue in that lower abdomen. That no amount of nutrition is really going to help scar tissue. We need to figure out why you're actually having that. Now, all of the things we're going to do together are going to help your hormonal balance. So I'm recommending weekly acupuncture. So you're going to come in weekly for acupuncture, and you're also going to do a formal nutritional visit every 2 weeks.
Okay.
So you're going to be doing that.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds great.
All right, so on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being absolutely I can do this plan that you have, and 0 being no way, where are you with the plan?
10.
Awesome! Very good.
That sounds
All right,
good.
well then I'll see you next week for acupuncture, and I'll see you in 2 weeks for nutrition.
Okay, sounds
Great,
good. Thank
thanks.
you so much.
Bye-bye.